హలో రాహుల్.
చెప్పరా
రే సార్ ఎక్కడరా?
సార్ మేబీ వెయిటింగ్ రూమ్ డిజేబుల్ చేసేసారు.
అవునా, సరిపోయింది. ఇప్పుడు క్విజ్ ఉంది కదా 11.
5 minutes క్విజ్ అంట.
సోది నాకు ఏంట్రా కొత్తగా.
రికార్డ్ అవుతుంది.
Okay, good morning, students. Today we are going to talk about lecture number 3. This is MOS transistors. Okay, so the next concept is MOS transistors. As all of you know that the transistors are very useful element in order to implement some functionalities in electronic industry or electronic circuits. Okay, so in the initial days, as we know that before 1947, people were used vacuum tubes. Okay. For the purpose of most of the cases, this transistor is meant for, actually there are the two purposes. One is for amplification. The second is for switching purpose. So these are the two areas where these transistors are more useful. Okay, so generally we notice that amplification in the analog applications that we normally use, analog applications. The switching purpose we use in digital applications. Okay, fine. So therefore, for any case, generally in the initial days of the transistor formation, people were used for the amplification purpose. So for that one, vacuum tubes were used in order to realize amplification applications. Okay, so after 1937, after 1947, so the solid state devices came into existence. Solid state devices. So what do you mean by a solid state devices? Normally you considered a sand, for example. Okay. So for example, silicon, you consider silicon. It's a solid material. Okay. So we are going to use a solid material for the transportation of the carriers within it. Okay, whereas in the vacuum tube, so we should have a filament, we should have a vacuum, we should have a glass is required. So it's nothing but it's a vacuum that we have used for that purpose. But after 1940s, actually the solid state electronics before the 1947 also there. But especially if you want to consider, if you want to realize the electronic circuits, solid state devices are more preferable one. Okay, so therefore, by using the solid state devices, people have invented, so a transistor has been invented. Okay, so actually this is the first bipolar junction transistor, the point contact transistor they have realized. Okay, so bipolar junction transistor have been invented. Okay, so this changes the world drastically when compared to the vacuum tubes. Okay, so nowadays the world is very high performance electronic circuits are only because of the solid state electronics only. Okay, if the solid state devices are not for if it is not able to transportation of the carriers within it, it is very difficult to achieve this tremendous growth in electronic industry. Okay, so therefore the transistors are very, very crucial elements for this. Okay, as I mentioned that the transistors are either used for the case, either used for amplification, either used as a switch. Okay, so the later, of course, only one particular solid device is not sufficient, and the discrete way of connecting these transistors may not give you the best results. Okay, so therefore, in the year 1947, sorry, 1958 or around 1957, something like this. So the integrated circuits came into existence. Integrated circuits. So whatever the solid state devices are there, those solid state devices are manufactured or made on a solid state device. Okay, so therefore this integrated circuit technology will completely change the world in terms of the performance, in terms of the power consumption, each and everything. Okay, so area also, importantly, the area of the device is also very, very, very less. Okay, so therefore, because of these two inventions, the transistor invention and because of the integrated circuit invention, the both people so got Nobel Prize. So whoever invented this bipolar junction transistor or the solid state transistor, he got a Nobel Prize. Similarly, who has invented this one also got Nobel Prize, because these are affecting the world, our society at large. Okay, that's the importance of these things. So one of the important things is that anyway, whatever may be the integrated circuits, the common element or basic element is a transistor. Okay, so in our syllabus, we mostly focusing on MOS transistors. Okay, we focus mainly on MOS transistors. Okay, so MOS transistors. Okay, so since when compared to the vacuum tubes, bipolar junction transistors are very good performer. But when compared to the bipolar junction transistors, MOSFETs are very low power consuming devices. Obviously, there is no doubt the power consumed by the MOS transistors are very less compared to the bipolar junction transistors. Okay, nowadays almost all the circuits are more or less the MOS transistors only people will use. Okay, so people are using the MOS transistors only. So let us go for how do we construct these MOS transistors in qualitative manner. Okay, so let us see the MOS transistor qualitatively. So what do you mean by the qualitative analysis of the MOS transistor? Which means that we don't want to mathematically represent what is the characteristics of the transistor. Okay, for example, the current there in the MOS transistor, we are not going to give the mathematical equation for the current. Okay, something like this we don't want to give. So just only what is the basic operation of the transistor by applying some potentials. Okay, fine. Now let us consider the first main objective of the transistor is, as I mentioned, that we use them for amplification and we use for the switches. Okay, so transistor is something like this. For example, so the current flow there is a connection between one end to another end. There is a connection between one end to another end. Okay, should be there, providing some kind of switches here. Okay, so that means one control is required. One control is required. That control must allow the input X to output Y. Okay, so whenever this control is fixing these two nodes and this point, then only the connection will be established. Otherwise, there is no connection between X and Y. Right? That means the controlled current flow or controlled transportation of the carriers must be there in a transistor. Okay, it resembles as a switch. So whenever the switch is controlled, switch is connected to these two ends, then the X and Y will be connected. If it is not there, there is no connection between X and Y. Are you agree with me? So this is what the switching functionality of a transistor. So we have to achieve this kind of functionality, this kind of object by using the solid state materials. Okay, so therefore this is called main objective. Okay, it is an objective. Now how do we realize this one? With the help of materials. Okay, so generally, if you consider in the nature, we have three types of materials, as I mentioned in the previously: insulating material, conducting material, semiconducting material. Okay, so the current controllability is 0 in insulators. Current controllability is uncontrollable in semiconductors, but controllable current can be possible in semiconductors. So therefore, I'm going to consider a semiconductor for this purpose. Okay, so I'm going to consider a semiconductor for this purpose. Okay, so as I mentioned that it is a semiconductor. So as we know that the semiconductor is in two flavors. Okay, so in order to increase the conductivity of the semiconductor, generally in the nature, we find that intrinsic semiconductor, right? It's an intrinsic semiconductor. So it is an intrinsic semiconductor. So this will be, if you want to increase the conductivity of this intrinsic semiconductor, we have to use the dopant atoms. Okay, that means we doped semiconductor, we need to consider for more conductivity. Okay, intrinsic semiconductor is just like an insulator type of material. So if you want to improve the conductivity of the semiconductor, we have to use the doping mechanism. Okay, so therefore, what I'm going to do here is that, so I have to use a semiconductor of doped semiconductor. Okay, so for example, P-type semiconductor I'm going to consider. What does it mean? What do you mean by this one? P-type semiconductor is, it is having the trivalent atoms are doped into the fourth group element. So actually semiconductor is a fourth group element. So third group element will dope into the fourth group element. It becomes a P-type semiconductor. So what is the majority of the carriers here? So majority is holes, right? What is the minority of this one? Electrons. Everybody knows this one. For example, if you are using the N-type semiconductor, majority are electrons, minority are holes. Are you agree with me? Now, so this is the semiconductor I need to consider to construct a transistor. Okay, so what I have to do is that, of course, my objective is that whatever the semiconductor you consider, doesn't matter. It is a P-type or N-type. So if the carriers are able to move from one end to another end, for example, this is the one end. So it is a one end. So this is another end. So if you are able to move the carriers from one end to another end, the transportation will takes place, right? But as long as you apply a potential between these two terminals, as we saw that there is no controllability on the current. There is no controllability on the current. That is one point. So therefore, lack of controllability. The second point we notice that, so throughout the bulk, actually, the three-dimensional view of this this semiconductor is something like this, as everybody knows that. Okay, so this is actually a semiconductor. It has got some kind of thickness. It has got some kind of length. It has got some kind of width also. Okay, so therefore this is the widthness. This is the thickness. Something like this. The three-dimensional view of the semiconductor can be seen here. So throughout the semiconductor, the carrier transportation is not advisable. Okay, so the meaningful way of transportation of the carriers are necessary. Okay, as long as you are giving the potential here, so almost in all the directions of the semiconductor, the carriers will move. Right? Are you agree with me? Please listen carefully. So therefore, bulk transportation is not advisable. Okay. So my requirement is that I have to place the carriers at the surface of the semiconductor. Which means that, for example, here I will consider. So here only the carriers must be provided. So in this place only the carriers must be provided. This is called the surface of the semiconductor. In a three-dimensional view, we can see here is that, okay, the surface in the sense only, so at this portion only, on top of this, the first face is there, no? So front face, this is actually. So on top of the front face only, the carriers must be moved from one end to another end. So this is what the surface transportation is very, very important one. So, okay, the surface transportation. Is very, very important one. Is required. Are you agree with me? The surface transportation is very, very important. So how do we move the carriers that is available in the semiconductor towards the surface? That's important one. How do we? So as we know that what is the majority carriers here? Majority are holes. What is the minority here? Electrons. So whether it is a majority or whether it is a minority, it doesn't matter. But if you want to construct the transistors in a semiconductors, we use the minority carriers. Okay, so another objective of this particular thing is that, so minority carriers must be available at the surface. So minority carriers. If you take any semiconductor, so you have to allow the minority carriers to reach at the surface. Right? Okay. So this fourth point, just to keep in your mind, we talk about this one later on. Okay. So this is one of the important understanding if you want to make a transistor. Okay, as a purpose of the switch, for example. Okay. Now, so therefore, this arrangement, whatever the arrangement that we have seen here, this particular arrangement, whatever the arrangement that we have seen. So that means that we have to create the free carriers at this point. So we have to create the free carriers near the surface. Okay. So how do we do this one? For this one, it's very simple to do this one. Just place an oxide on top of it. Just place an oxide on top of it. It is an oxide, silicon dioxide or whatever it may be, silicon nitrate also there. An oxide, we have to place it. On top of it, just place a conducting material. So a conducting material, or we can call it as a metal. Metal is one of the conducting material. Okay, so this particular structure is allow the carriers under the surface of the silicon dioxide. So normally it is a silicon dioxide. Okay. So on the surface means this is the surface actually. In this surface, we want to create an electrons or maybe some carriers. So it doesn't matter. It's an electrons or something else. So normally it is a p-type semiconductor. So therefore, how do we provide the carriers? How these carriers are attracted towards the surface? That's the question. Right? Can anyone tell me what is the structure we can call it as? Anyone? Can you guess from the class? So we have one conducting plate on top. There is an oxide. There is another conducting plate at the bottom. Yeah, simply a capacitor. That's right, Samir. It's simply a capacitor. Okay. So two conducting plates are separated by an oxide. We can call it as capacitor. As simple as that. Okay. So if you want to attract the carriers near the surface, so near the surface, if you want to create a carriers, what we have to do, we have to apply the potential between these two, right? So from here to here, we have to apply a potential, right? So therefore, what I can do here is that, what I will do, so just I'm going to provide, sorry. So I'm going to provide some potential here, potential difference between these two. Okay, so what I can do is that, so for the different cases are there. For example, I'll put a negative charge at the top when compared to the bottom. So if it is a negative, default, the bottom one is a positive, right? Then what will happen to this particular device? So that means that we are providing the negative charges. We are providing the negative charges on the top of this one, right? We are providing the negative charges on top of it. So because of this capacitive nature, the electric field will be developed. It's a very, very important one. So there is an electric field is developed. Okay. So therefore the electric field is induced on the other side. Whenever you are placing some potential on top of it, of a conducting plate, other plate will induce a positive charge from the basic fundamental of the physics. Okay. So then only there is a possibility of electric field existed. Okay. So the electric field direction outside onto the positive to the negative electric field direction. This is an electric field. So therefore, by placing the negative charge on the top plate, because of the electric field, the positive charge is induced on top of it, at the surface of the silicon dioxide. Are you agree with me? What is the positive charge? In fact, actually, in terms of the carrier representation, I'll do. So what kind of carriers are attracted towards the surface? Holes, normally. So something like this, it will be. Minus the acceptor atoms are there. This is a p-type semiconductor, right? So these are the holes and the acceptor ions. Ion, this is the acceptor ion. This is a hole. Acceptor ion, hole. Acceptor, something like this, it will be filled with all the acceptor atoms, right? So very few of the carriers are there. Very few of the carriers that are electrons. So these are the dots are nothing but electrons. Very few are there. These are minority carriers, as we know that. As soon as the positive negative charge is placed on top of the metal and on the metal, what's happening here? These electrons move towards the surface. Sorry, these holes are moved towards the surface, right? As we know that it's a positively charged this thing, electrons, sorry, holes. So these are the holes. Holes are available near the surface. Okay. If you apply more negative, then what will happen? If you apply more negative, what will happen? More number of holes will be presented at this point, right? Please agree with me. So more number of holes are accumulated on the surface or near the silicon dioxide surface. Okay. So this particular, okay. So this particular surface is filled with accumulation of charges, right? So therefore, this capacitor normally called as a mass capacitor. At this place, we can call it as accumulation mode. Mass capacitor is in accumulation. Mass capacitor in accumulation. But understand that there is no use if you are operating mass capacitor in accumulation. Okay. So this is how the surface will be filled with carriers. Okay, you can observe that one. So what is our requirement is that? So only the surface transportation is required. Okay, so for that one, we are making this kind of arrangement. Okay, now what I have to do is that, okay, if you are applying the more negative, more carriers are there, but there is no use at all. So what happens if you apply a positive charge on the metal? Okay, you consider this. You consider this. Okay, so we have an oxide. On top of it, we have a metal. You apply a positive charge on this. What will happen? It's a small positive charge that we are applying. So that means, what does it mean? So this metal is actually, please observe, this metal is actually positively charged. That means we are applying the positive charge on the top of the metal. So if it is a positive, we have to apply the negative at the bottom, right? Negative at the bottom. Then what will happen then? So the negative charge is induced at this place. Okay, the negative charge is induced at this. No, actually not negative charge. In fact, actually what is happening here, you see, observe this one. We have a ions, holes are there. Ions, holes are there. Like this is filled with every region, every place. So the moment if you're applying the negative charge at the bottom for the semiconductor, all these electrons are moved towards the ground side. Are you agree with me? These are all moved towards this side. These are attracted towards this side. But since the minority carriers are very few, those carriers are not influenced by the whatever the positive charge that we are applying on the metal plate. Right? So only thing is that these are affected by only the holes. Minority carriers are not affected because more positive is not there in the metal. Okay. So therefore, because it is moving this groundwards, so only at the surface you can see negatively charged ions are there, not free carriers. These are all ions. Immobile ions are available at the surface. Okay, is it clear? So this surface is entirely filled with ions. So when one hole is moving from that one, it becomes ion. Atom becomes ion. Okay, one positive charge, one carrier charge is away from the atom, it becomes ion. As simple as that. Okay. In this situation, we normally call it as mass capacitor is in depletion mode. So in previous case, we have a free carriers are available. Okay. But we are not going to use that kind of charges for our transportation, for the conductivity of the current conductivity. But we have tried for another case by applying the positive charge on this one. But here there is no free carriers, therefore we cannot expect the current conductivity near the surface. Okay, therefore this is also not at all useful application, useful thing. Okay, now let us consider another case. Okay, now let us consider another case. The same mechanism I'm considering. Copy. I want to paste it here. Okay. But what I'm doing here is that, please remember, I'm applying more positive. I'm applying more positive. So that means more positive I'm applying. More positive at top of the plate. Okay, more positive. So at this particular case, what is happening here? These carriers, okay, so again the holes will be moved towards the ground side. Okay, there is no doubt at all. But the minority carriers that is available, electrons can attract towards the ground side, attract towards the surface side. Okay, so or it is better to remove this ions. Okay, so there is a space is available. Here you can see that electrons are available here. So free electrons are attracted. The minority carriers are attracted near the surface. So please carefully understand this point. Okay, anyway, of course, there is a negatively charged ions are also there below that one. But exactly at the near the surface, silicon-silicon dioxide interface, we can call it as. So this is called silicon-silicon dioxide interface. At that interface, you can see plenty of minority carriers. Plenty of minority carriers. Okay, so this is what we can call it as mass capacitor in inversion mode. Inversion mode. Or inversion layer is formed. Okay, so very, very important one. This is a inversion layer. That means that whenever you are applying the positive charge, the negative charge is induced here. Okay, therefore inversion of the charge. Okay, actually it is a p-type semiconductor. You can see here is that it is a p-type semiconductor, right? Are you agree with me? Okay, so but at the near the surface, this becomes a negative. This becomes a n-type semiconductor. It's very important one. It becomes a n-type semiconductor near the surface. Actually, we started off using the p-type semiconductor because of this connectivity, because of this structure near the surface. The n-type semiconductor is formed. That is why it is called inversion. The layer is inverted near the surface. Right? So what is the electric field direction here now? Positive to the negative, right? So it is a positive to the negative side. Okay, so I can remove this one. So this is a positive to the negative. This is the electric field direction. Okay, so therefore the surface carriers are available because of this electric field effect. That's the reason why it is called field effect device. It is called field effect device. Field effect device. So far we have seen a horizontal field only. Horizontal field. Okay, that means vertical field. Sorry, it is a vertical field, right? I'm extremely sorry. It is a vertical field. Vertical electric field is existed in your device. Okay, so this particular inversion mode is most useful in order to transport the carrier from one end to another end. This transportation is most applicable for to be considered as a switch in our digital applications. I hope you understand this point, right? So whatever the voltage that we apply at the gate so that this inversion charge is developed is called threshold voltage. The voltage is called threshold voltage. Threshold voltage. So what do you mean by threshold voltage? Threshold voltage means forming an inversion layer at the surface of the silicon and silicon dioxide interface. Okay, therefore, without applying this threshold voltage, it is not possible to attract the minority carriers within the p-type semiconductor. Right? So this is the first thing that we should notice. So therefore, what we have done, so we have created a inversion layer, and this is also called as a channel also. People will call it as it's a channel. It's called as a channel. So what does it mean? For example, for simple illustration, for example, we are moving in a road, for example. So many obstacles are there, for example. So many obstacles are there. Is it easy to flow directly from one end to another end? So we find some kind of difficulty, right? There is no doubt at all. So the speed of the person will reduces if you are going in a unstructured road. Okay. For example, if you create one road, middle of that one, okay, whatever maybe the stones are there, you can throw it aside and create one particular straight road. Then it is easy for you to move from one end to another end. Okay. So normally this is called a channel. We can call it as. So if the carriers are moving without any kind of obstacles, that is called a channel, as simple as that, for simple understand. So therefore the carriers are available at this place, at the surface. Therefore, whenever a carrier is available here, it can easily move through this particular channel. Okay, so anyway, the carriers are available at the surface. Now our next point is that how do we transport this carrier from one end to another end? So that's an important one. So the second objective of this one is, second point we have to think is that, so allow the carriers from one end to other end. How do we do this one? Okay, plenty of carriers are available here. So an oxide, some metal. So we have an electrons are available here. So how do we move this carrier from this potential, this place to this place? Just by applying the potential difference, right? Just we have to apply the potential difference between these two, right? So if you apply the potential difference between these two, the carriers can move. Okay, but thing is that we have the small modification for this one. Okay, what is that? So just I'm going to do is that I'm going to provide a source of carriers of the surface possibility only, surface area only. That means I'm going to provide some kind of sources here, some kind of sources here. So that means source of electrons. Okay, so for the source of electrons, heavily doped N plus electrons that I'm going to consider, semiconductor I have to consider, so that more number of carriers are available at N plus side. Okay, so these carriers are available here and allow these carriers through this channel and reaches to the other side. So therefore, this is also a plenty of electrons are there. Therefore, this electron can move from this side to this side. So since this is sourcing of electrons, this is called a source. Since it is receiving the electrons, this is called drain. This is called drain. Okay, so for the carrier transportation, I'm applying some potential here, right? So this is normally called as gate of a device. Okay, so therefore we are applying the gate potential with respect to this bottom side, right? So this is called bulk actually. So bulk, or we can call it as a substrate. Right. So the question is that, so the gate to bulk is responsible to create the channel or inversion layer at the surface of the silicon dioxide surface. Okay, this is the silicon, this is SiO2. This is called Si, silicon dioxide interface means this one. Okay. And the source and drain are responsible to move the carriers from the source side to the drain side. So the carriers are moving from this side to, within the channel only it is moving. So from source side to the drain side, it is moving. Okay, so therefore, what is the potentials now we can apply here now? Nothing but, so we have to apply a positive potential here. We have applied a negative potential here. Or simply, normally we can call it as it's a positive terminal. It is a negative terminal. Are you agree with me? Fine. So what about this one? If an electron is moving this side to this side means what could be the potential at the source? Anybody? The electrons are available in N plus. These electrons should move towards the drain side. What should be the potential at the source? Any guess?
Greater than drain.
That is a different issue. Greater than the drain is, yeah, exactly. The greater than the drain, of course. So what is the potential? Positive potential or negative potential? Anyway, as somebody said, it is actually we have to apply the negative potential here, because if it is a negative, these electrons are repelled by the negative charge and it can enter into the channel. Now, do you agree with me? And if since it is a negative, with respect to the drain we are talking about, it obviously a positive. Obviously a positive. Okay, now this will be a negative. This will be a positive. Sorry, this will be a positive. Here, this will be positive. So can anybody tell me what is the, for example, it's not a direct way of representing this one. So it is better to consider this way. Okay, so I'm extending the bulk from this side to this side. I'm extending the bulk from this side to this side. Okay, so I'm going to remove this one. So this one also. Okay. Now, so this is a p-type semiconductor. Okay, this is a p-type semiconductor. This is also entire this thing is a p-type semiconductor. Then what is the, of course, when two conducting plates, one is N plus, another is a p-type semiconductor. Okay, obviously it is a p-n junction diode, right? It is a p-n junction diode, right? So what is the biasing of this particular p-n junction here? Positive, negative is applied at the for this N plus. This is the negative is applied here in this place. Okay, so here is a positive we are applying. Here is a what is applying here? Negative we are applying here. Okay, so since the positive negative is connected to the negative of the N-type semiconductor, it can be considered as a forward bias region. Okay, please remember this point because it's very important when we are understanding the mathematical equations. So what is the biasing condition for this N plus and P here now? Positive is applied to the negative device. So it is a reverse bias. Please remember. And P is connected to the negative. Therefore, for example, as all of you know that it's a P-type and N-type. Okay, so if it is apply a positive, it is a negative. What is happening? It's a forward bias. So if it is a P-type semiconductor is there, N-type is there. Here, if you apply the negative, it is a positive, it is a reverse bias. Okay. Now, this is the structure that is required to do this kind of thing. Okay. So therefore, we are providing the horizontal electric field for transportation of the carrier. We are providing the vertical electric field for attracting the minority carriers on the surface. Okay, so these two fields are, because of these two fields, this is a field effect transistor. It is a field effect transistor. So the transportation of the carriers from one end to another end is responsible by the potential difference between the source and drain. The carriers attracting of the carriers is available at the surface of the silicon dioxide. Is it clear? So now I'll write in this way. The summary of this one is something like this. We take a p-type semiconductor. We have to provide a silicon dioxide on top of it. We have to provide a metal on top of it. Okay, so we have to provide source. We have to provide drain. Okay, so it is a 4-terminal device. The gate is we are using, source we are using, drain we are using, bulk we are using, bulk or substrate, right? It is a p-type substrate that we are using. Since it is called, the channel is N-type, right? The channel is in N-type, therefore it is called N-MOSFET transistor. So the inversion charge is N-type, right? That's the reason why it is called N-type MOSFET or N-MOSFET we can call it as. It is also called as normally N-type MOSFET. N-type MOSFET. Okay, so the heart of this MOSFET is a MOS structure. Without the MOS structure, it's not possible to create a transistor. Okay, the same notation is applicable for the PMOS also, P-type transistor also. Just we have to construct the MOS transistor in this fashion. This is all about the construction of a MOS transistor. Okay, so with this we conclude the today's topic, and tomorrow we will see some more detailed discussion about the MOS transistor in electrical point of view. Okay, so whether the transistor is on or off, if it is on, what kind of behavior, if it is off, what kind of behavior, even if it is on, different cases are available. All those things will be explained in the next class. So if you have any doubt, please let us know and I will clarify your doubts. Okay, yeah.
Sir, regarding quiz, sir, you have kept 2 quizzes, sir, quiz 1 and quiz 2.
Yeah.
Sir, I have attempted quiz 1, sir. In either of the time, quiz 2 also time ended, it is showing, sir. We don't know. We are having 2 quizzes.
Yeah, the quiz one is actually, just a second.